Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about Splunk. As you guys have requested in my previous video to create a video on Splunk, so I am creating a dedicated or separate video for Splunk so that I can explain better way. So in this video I'll be explaining you about what is Splunk, how we are going to install it on our Windows PC so that you can do a little bit of practice, how we are going to configure Palo Alto logs, like how we can activate the Palo Alto logs in Splunk, and also with the practical example I will show you how you are going to check the logs in the Splunk. So I'll request you to please watch this video till the end so that you can understand how you are going to find out the Splunk logs, like the Palo Alto logs, with a practical example, as well as how you are going to implement in your real-time environment, how you can activate the Palo Alto logs in Splunk, what are the parameters that is required. So this will be really helpful for your real-time environment, as well as whenever you want to implement in a new infra the Splunk, what are the information that you need, you will get to know by end of this video. And also I'll request you please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you never miss a video from me. So without any further delay, let's get started. So friends, now we'll understand what is Splunk. Okay. Now with the help of this diagram, we'll try and understand. So let's suppose this is a PC. Okay, now PC wants to reach, let's say wants to reach AD. Okay, it goes through the firewall, or maybe server, it goes through a firewall, or maybe internet, it goes through a firewall. Now for all these three traffic, what happens is when you turn on the logs in your rule, whatever you have configured, or the policy what you have configured in firewall, when you have turned on the logs, the system or the firewall will generate a log. Now in that log there are a lot more information. Okay, date, time, source address, destination address, action, which device is generating that particular log. So all this information will get generated, and apart from that there are a lot more informations are there, and these informations will be sent to Splunk. Okay, now what exactly a Splunk is? So the Splunk is nothing but a software which actually collects all this data. So whatever the firewalls creates this data, it sends to Splunk. Now Splunks will analyze that particular information and present you that information, that what happened during that time. If somebody is asking what happened, what kind of log, what the user was doing, what that source IP was doing, what the destination IP was doing, so all this informations you will be able to get it from Splunk, right? Now we'll try and understand what is the benefit of getting these logs and analyzing that logs. Okay, so friends, now we'll talk about and we'll understand what is the benefits of Splunk. Okay, so basically let's suppose, I'll give you a scenario. Let's say we have 50 plus firewalls in our environment. Okay, so what happens is, let's say some user has come to you and asking that they want to access some of the destination, but it is not accessible. Okay, now you can go to the Splunk. Okay, as Splunk has all the logs, all these 50 firewalls are sending the logs to the Splunk. So what happens is you can go onto the Splunk and search for that particular information. Okay, you can give a source IP address, destination IP address, so destination port numbers or something like that, or protocol as TCP or UDP. Now it will tell you whether the action of that particular traffic is allowed in the firewall or deny in the firewall, or which firewall is denying it. Because as I was telling you that it gives the information about the device as well. So it gives you the information which firewall is blocking that particular connection or allowing this connection. Okay. Now you can go back to the user and says that this is blocked or allowed in this firewall. So you can proceed further what action you want me to do, whether I need to implement any rule or whether you have to check with the destination or something like that. So you can advise by seeing the logs in the Splunk, right? Now I'll tell you one more thing. I just spoke about the firewall as we are in the series of learning firewalls, but Splunk collect all the logs related to other devices or vendor, I can say. So it can be storage devices, it can be servers, can be web servers, or it can be any other database or something. I'm not much sure about it, but what I understand is like Splunk can take all the data and gives you in a format so that you guys can able to read it. Okay. Now now we will go to the lab and we'll try and understand. I'll see that how we can install Splunk in Windows PC and how exactly it works practically. Okay. Friends, now we'll go to the lab and we'll try to install Splunk and we'll see how it goes. So this is our lab and we'll try to understand the lab first. So this will be our firewall and this is the interface from where we are managing the Palo Alto firewall. Okay, this is our user test machine which we are going to test some of the traffic towards the internet. Okay, and we are not using this interface and we are not using this Win server. Okay, as this is a router and this router is connected to our one of the VM machine. Okay, and in this VM machine we are running Windows 10 and basically here we are going to install the Splunk and we have configured the logs to send to directly to this Splunk server. Okay, and how we are going to install we'll see right now. Okay, so before we gonna install the Splunk Syslog software, we have to do something. So friends, first of all what you have to do is, let's say you are making this system as a Syslog system. So in this system you should be having an internet access, right? So once you have this internet access, what you have to do is you have to browse one URL. Okay, I'll show you what exactly the URL is. You have, like, for me I am going to install in this. So basically you have to search for Splunk Enterprise. Okay, now it will give you a free trial. Okay, and you have to get that particular free trial. So once you click on this, okay, you have to actually get registered with this. Okay, now as I am already registered, that is the reason it is showing me this account. Okay, get me free trial. Now it gives me this kind of thing, but before that what you have to do is you have to create your own account. Okay, so let me try to search it again. So Splunk Enterprise, right? So you have to search for this and you will get a registration. Yeah, so you have to give all this information here and you have to create account. So once you create account, you will get access to this software. You can download it. So I have already downloaded this software and it doesn't require much much resource, as right now see it is already installed in my PC. That is the reason it says that the Splunk Enterprise is already installed in your PC. That is the reason it is not allowing me. And the installation is really smooth. You don't need to do anything, just next, click next, 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 and the installation will be complete smoothly. There is no issue. Okay. Now if I talk about how much RAM that you need, if I show you the setting of this VM, okay, I have 4 GB of RAM and 2 processor, like the virtual processor. So it doesn't require much resource to use it, but the thing is like you have to do it properly, then only you will be start getting the logs. Okay. Now what we are going to do is how we are going to setting the Splunk logs. I'll show you now. So friends, I expect that you guys have already installed the Splunk. Now after installing the Splunk, you have to search for Splunk Enterprise, and this will open in the browser. And this is the IP address is like your local IP, which is 27.0.0 and 8000 port number. And you have to enter the same username password what you have put during the installation time. Okay, so I'm putting the same password. Okay, now before we configure anything, what we have to do is we have to install some application. Now I'll explain you why this application is needed. Give me a minute. So let me search for Palo Alto. Now you are seeing a Palo Alto application for Splunk and Palo Alto add-ons for the Splunk. So let me explain you why it is needed. Okay. Now right now we are using a Palo Alto firewall. Okay. Now the format of the log will be little different from the Cisco, right? From Fortinet, right? From Checkpoint, right? So it is little different from all the other vendor. So for that specific vendor, we have something called as application, right? With this kind of application, when you install that application into this Splunk, it actually reads that way of understanding the logs and represent particular logs in front of you, a kind of a dashboard, right? So every vendor has their own application which is built inside that particular Splunk. Okay, you can think about so let me install that particular application, and let me show you how exactly it works. Okay, so let me delete all this and I'll go back to that screen and try to install it. Now here, when you try to install it, you have to give the username and password what you have done it during the registration time, right? So you have to give that particular username and password. Agree and install it. And during the installation time, you have to have what? You have to have internet connectivity, then only you can do it. Okay, so you have to have a internet connection from this machine, then only it can download that particular application and install in this Splunk Enterprise, right? So right now it is installing. I'll do the same for, okay, it's done now. I'll do it same for the add-ons as well. So let it install and then I'll start the video again. So now you friends, you can see that there are two applications has been added, like Palo Alto Networks and Palo Alto Networks add-on. Okay, now we are going to do a setting. Now what setting we are going to do is like how we are going to accept or receive the data or the logs from the devices. Okay, on what port number. So basically there are so many log inputs are there, so we can collect it from the script, and you have to UDP. There are so many. If you try to explore it, there are so many. Okay, now I am going to receive the data from a like a regular one, which is UDP syslog server. So I'm just going to add that. Okay, now by default the syslog works on UDP 415. I'm just putting as 415 as UDP. I'm not changing anything. Okay, and here I'm just leaving as blank because I don't want to change any kind of default setting, because it requires a lot of information or a lot of knowledge to do this. Like, not particularly this, there are so many things that you can do with this, but I'm just going with the default settings. Okay, now here you have to define our input type. So as we have already installed firewall, so we are going to take this pan firewall. Okay, so this is the source type. So whenever you want to search anything, you have to type pan firewall, that's all. Okay, now here basically the app context, I am just going with this. This is the application that we have chosen it. Okay, now how you want you want to know the from the IP address, DNS or custom. So I just need to know from the IP address. DNS name, like every time, and in this lab I don't have any DNS name as well as such right now, but I have IP address. In real time environment also you choose the IP address, I will recommend that. Okay, and index is like default, you don't need to change anything on this. Okay, now review. Now this is a UDP port number 514, pan firewall, and there's a Splunk for Palo Alto networks, right? And submit it. Okay, so the input is already been created. Now the next thing that we are going to do is we have to log into this Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so basically we have to type the IP address 192.168.202.131, right? Now we'll log into the firewall, and during the login of the firewall, what we have to do is, what we need to understand is, as this is a firewall, we need to send the particular syslog to this log server. Okay, so we have to configure what? We have to configure log forwarding. If you have not watched my log forwarding video, which I have explained in a very detailed manner, you just click on the I button, you will get that particular video, or you can search in the description box where I have given a recommended video link. You can find over there that video link and the title of that particular video. Okay, so you can find it over there. So friends, now we'll go to the dashboard of Palo Alto, and first what we need to do is we have to go to device, and we have to configure the syslog server, which already we did it, and then we'll go to the object, and then you have to configure the log forwarding, which we have already did it, and you have to go to the policy. So in the policy, in the security policy, you have to configure the log forwarding. So from inside to outside, so basically this is the inside, this is the outside. In action I have, okay, I'll just remove this. Okay, and I have configured a syslog test, right? So if you want to see how the syslog is configured, I have already showed that. You have to go to that particular video and you have to watch how we can configure a log forwarding. Okay, I'll put the link of that particular video into the description box and I button as well. Okay, so let it commit and then I'll start it again. So once this app gets installed, what we have to do is we have to go to test machine and we'll try to initiate some traffic, and then we'll see whether those logs messages are coming into the Splunk logs or not. Okay, so we'll go to this PC and we'll try to access some of the websites. Okay, so we'll try to open Twitter, we'll try to open Facebook, we are going to open Wikipedia, we are going to open YouTube, then we are going to open some travel website, Okay, and then we are going to initiate another website. Now we have initiated enough traffic, and those traffics has already hit the particularly this rule. Okay, now if we try to refresh it, there are so many hits are there. So I expect some of the logs are sent to through the syslog. It sends to Splunk. Now we'll go to the Splunk machine and we'll try to search it. Okay, I'm just searching with star so that I should get all the logs. Okay, now as you are seeing, there are a lot of logs. Okay, if you want to analyze these logs, okay, for an example, if you want to analyze this log, okay, where is that particular log is there? Okay, yeah, so see, this is the log which you have got it from the firewall. Okay, now it says this is the host, this is the firewall, this is the host type, host action from policy, DNS base rule, it is allowed, the source information, destination information, every information should be there, the interface. Now by seeing all this, there are so many parameters. If you see in the left side of the screen, you'll see a lot of log parameters are there. So when you install this kind of application, it adds all this logs information, the log header information. So log header in sense, for an example, user, vendor. Okay, so it adds all this information, and accordingly it processes the traffic, and it will show you a very best way so that the user can understand what is going on. Okay, so for this one, if you try to see and look at this information, it is quite informative. Okay, so basically what happens is, by seeing this information, you get to know whether the NAT is happening or not, what is the source port, what kind of it is a IP traffic, TCP, UDP, what kind of traffic it is. So all this information, even we have got a syslog test. Okay, syslog test is nothing but what exactly the syslog test we have created. If I wanted to show you here in the logs, okay, not here, if we go into this policy, we will be able to see this logs. So even the policy is already there. Okay, so this much information will be there in this. Okay, okay, so this is how you can set up Splunk in your system. Okay, so this is what I wanted to cover in this video, guys. If you like this video, please give a like. If you have learned something new from this video, please comment it. If you have any suggestions or something, just put it on the comment, or you can send me an email or maybe a message on Facebook or Instagram. I am ready to reply you or taking your suggestion, as I have created this video because you guys have commented so much on Splunk, how we have to configure Splunk. So I have created this kind of video. So if you can suggest me, or if you can give me some kind of topic, I'll try to make the video on that if I get time for that particular. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you so much.